All right. So, today's title of today's workshop is Getting the Word Out from basically, and I'm taking it a step further. So, I am talking about it from literally your first impressions with families to those community connections. So, I mentioned before, my name is Kate Woodward Young. If you've not ever had a session with me, I am glad to be here. I am with Texas Director. So texasdirector.org or All Texas Director LLC. We have been training administrators across the state of Texas since 2002 and have credentialed almost 5,000 directors. So we are excited to continue to support directors who are looking for training that's relevant for them today. And hopefully you'll be able to take some tools that you can implement in your program. So a lot of times when I do workshops and sessions, folks will be like, oh, you're going to do a marketing workshop. I know all about marketing. And then they start talking to me about what that is for them. Sometimes folks kind of confuse all these different aspects, which are all parts of the definition of marketing. So marketing is not just your social media ads. It is not just the ChatGPT flyer or the Canva flyer or the other logos that you've maybe created over time. Marketing is everything people see, experience, hear, and repeat about your program. So your staff are your marketing. Your parents are your marketing. Everything you put out in a parent communication app is your marketing. Anything that you personally respond to on social media, whether you're putting it on your day job hat or your personal life, all kind of comes back to bits and pieces of your marketing. Part of the reason that I want to say this is that sometimes I have talked to folks who hire it done, which is perfect if that is the way your life goes and you need to do that. I have no problem with people hiring done marketing. But let's talk about what it is you actually hired done. If you've just hired somebody to handle your social media ads, that really isn't your marketing. So social media ads, real quick, is about like in the 1990s. Yeah, I know, back in the last century, when we used to flyer a neighborhood. And I am sure that anybody who does social media ads, I just made them cringe, and the back of their hair, the hair on the back of their neck just went up because it feels like it's more than that. And the reason we have to hire somebody is that social media is huge. And now we have to hire people who can help us geofence those social media ads so that we're only spending money on social media ads and people in our zip code. And for some of us, that zip code is a pretty big zip code. So today we're going to look at all different aspects, and I'm going to talk to you about what I consider way better investments of time and money. But I realize that sometimes as directors, we get so overwhelmed that if we can just, I don't know, let a piece of it go, right? Channel our inner Elsa, our inner princess, and just say, let it go. And we think that by setting it up and letting it go, such as a social media ad, we are doing the best we can for our program. So hopefully I don't step on too many toes today, but I'm not going to promise that I won't step on some. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and jump in and get started. I do still have folks popping in. I was trying to catch people, and we still got some later arrivals. All right. So today's workshop is brought to you by Workforce Gulf Coast. And so with that, texasdirector.org is proud to partner with Baker Ripley and Workforce Solutions. My name is Kate Woodward Young. If you are ever looking for me, you can always Google Kate Woodward Young, and you will find katewoodwardyoung.me. .me as a website. You can find me there. You can find me on texasdirector.org. You can also find me at childcareconversations.com. So Carrie Casey, who is my business partner and co-founder of Texas Director, is also my cousin. And we started a podcast back in 2019. So we have a lot of information there related to marketing and connecting with communities. So if you are looking for even more information after today, please feel free to jump over to the podcast. We have over 350 episodes, so there's always something new coming out twice a week. At the end of today's session, you will actually have your email added to our newsletter list. If you don't want to be added, when you get the message that says, hey, if you don't want to be here, just hit unsubscribe. We'd love for you to unsubscribe. No harm, no foul. We don't care. We're not offended. But if you need resources, we are absolutely here for you. All right. So before a family can even think about trusting you, before they can believe you, let me go back there, they're going to experience you. Think that through, right? So a lot of us also are probably familiar with concepts like they're going to smell whatever they're going to smell in your space before they see everything they see in your tour. They're going to know everything there is to possibly know about you online before they even pick up the phone and call you. Okay? If you haven't recognized that there have been shifts literally in the last 6 months on how families find you, hopefully I can share some of that insight with you today. Families are not just finding you in social media ads. They aren't just finding you by Googling you. They've always found you by driving around the neighborhood. Guess what is still the number one way people find you first? First, they find you because they drive by you. Second, they find out about you from a friend. And third starts to come into all those other bits and pieces, the social media, the paid advertisements, and all the different venues that we can absolutely pay and spend money to try to get families to find us. But we want them to know, like, and ultimately trust you with their most precious, right? Their children. So got to move the little cursors around. Right now in the chat, what I would love for you to do is tell me what is the hardest thing right now for you, okay? Do you need more enrollment? Just write an E. You're posting all the time to social media, but you get no engagement, you get no responses. People don't understand what makes your program different than the program down the street. Or sometimes you really don't know what to say when people ask you what you do. Now, here's the reason why I brought that last one up. When you start to think about when people go, what do you do for a living? Is it easy for you and does it roll off the tongue? Or do you kind of go, I just own a childcare center. I'm just a director. I'm going to challenge you today on that word just. And part of the reason for that is if you've got over 50 kids, chances are your program is almost $1 million a year in revenue.
De largo.
So that doesn't mean you're making $1 million. It doesn't mean that the owner's making $1 million because, I mean, we operate in an industry that has, a really small profit margin, really, really small, like less than 20% profit margin. And our number one expense is staffing. Most childcare centers, their staffing is almost 60% of the revenue that walks in the door. Okay. I know that as administrators, you know this, but sometimes you haven't done what I'm going to call all the math, right? We might have done some of the math. We might know how many we're licensed for. We might know what our tuition is, but we may not have actually sat down and looked at what is our annual revenue. Because I'm pretty sure that if you were a manager of $1 million business, you wouldn't just be a manager at a business. you would be proud to say, I am a manager of $1 million business. So as a director, the next time you think about it, sit down and figure out how much revenue annually comes into your program from all of the different sources. Okay. So today we're going to talk about where to find more people, how to get more butts in the seats. And we're also going to talk about why maybe some of what you're doing isn't actually getting you the results you were hoping for. So paid ads can get attention. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're doing the paid ads. It doesn't matter if you're hiring the paid ads to be done on your behalf, but they cannot fix confusion. If there are 3 programs in your community with names that are similar, if you have a name that maybe doesn't tell people what you do, okay? Just because the name of your program is in Spanish doesn't necessarily tell everyone that you're a bilingual or a Spanish immersion program. A Montessori program has different connotations in different parts of the country to different cultural communities, depending on kind of what their experience with Montessori education is. Academic, pre-academic, STEM, all of these are phrases that I see childcare centers use daily when describing their program, but they are missing often the really big thing, which is what can I do for that parent? By the time a parent calls you to schedule the tour, they've checked you out online. They've checked your Google reviews. They've checked your Facebook reviews. Chances are they've even asked some folks in at least one community group for a recommendation. And they call you when they've gotten to maybe 2 or 3 people. They are no longer shopping 5, 6, or 7 programs. They're going to 1 or 2 because, well, they kind of feel like maybe they should go in person and they shouldn't just make the decision online. If people can't explain you, it's a whole different mess, right? They can't refer you. Think about it. If you've got over 20 different parents, I want you to put a 1 in that box, in the chat box, because I'm guessing most of you have over 20 parents at your program, right? If you've got a 2-parent household, that's automatically 2. Okay. Drop in the box, right? Because I want to get an idea. I want you to think about the fact that if people can't tell their friends what you do as a program, what makes you special, what makes you the place they trust their children with, they can't refer you. If you're the only place in town that takes infants, does every parent, regardless of their age child, know that you take infants? Do parents in your program know when you have openings? Do they know what the openings are in? If you do wraparound care, you do extended care, you do morning or weekends or some other time slot for maybe public pre-K or out of school time, so school agers, drop that in the box for me real quick. Just say yes, just give me a Y. Yes, you do some sort of wraparound care for kids in school. Okay, it could even be summer camps. Okay. So here's the reason why I'm putting that in there. Because if you're just a childcare center or just a preschool, but now you offer wraparound care for school agers, that's a different thing. Can you say to a parent exactly what you do and why your program is better, different? Can you do it in a way that doesn't make the others sound trashy? Right? We gotta be nice, right? We're nice humans, right? So we don't necessarily want to completely edify our program by knocking other programs down. That is not how you make yours stand out. Okay. Referral language is built into real rooms. What do I mean by that? I'm sure most of you have seen the hundreds of ChatGPT generated flyers that have been created literally in the last week, probably. And you see them all over your social feeds, and you probably have different places where you've seen them. But they all start to look alike. Not only do they all start to look alike, they're not real rooms. If you are creating something in Canva, ChatGPT, any other AI, use pictures of kids in your program, use the rooms in your program. You're not a catalog. Don't go grab stock photos. I used to get on everybody's case about using stock photos because you don't want the parents to come in and see something totally different than what's on your website, what's in your social media. Chaos is good. Make it a point to take photos every single day in your location. Doesn't have to be on your phone. We're all familiar with the fact that you can buy a phone and have it on, a pay per minute kind of thing, or not even sign it up for cell service. You could even have an old-fashioned camera. You could have one at every location, and you have people who they know every day for 20 minutes, they're going to go around to every classroom. And what's even better is if this is a person who has conversations with the staff and they know who during the week is going to do something really fun and cool, and then work with that person on how to take really good photos. There are YouTube videos. There are tutorials. Chances are you have somebody on staff who quietly wants to be an influencer. You might have some that aren't so quiet about it. Talk to those folks. Give them 20 minutes of their job day, of their work day, to go around to every classroom and take some photos. Take some overhead photos of just hands, some shots down from the kid's point of view. Get a variety of photos, and we don't need to see what people are wearing under their clothes. So make sure to tell them, look, I don't want anybody's backside, and I don't want to know if their shirt's long enough or not long enough. Okay? I love when I get to see some really great photos of the kids having a great time, and then there's a spoiler alert because I now know about Susie's tattoo. I didn't need to know about Susie's tattoo. That was not what I needed. Okay? So my goal for you is to make sure that your staff understand what it is about your program that makes you unique. Your staff can't refer. Every once in a while, I will ask people, when was the last time your staff made referrals to your program? If you're not sure, or you can only think of one or two that actually have done it recently, scratch your head and ask yourself why. Have you asked them? There were a lot of you who, in the first question of the day, when I said, kind of what's going on, there were a lot of enrollment needs. And I would suspect that you came to a workshop on marketing not because you have a wait list. If you have a wait list, you're probably not on this call. I even heard that one. So somebody wasn't muted, and thank you. Because I always like to at least know that people are here a little bit. So, right. So like if you're here, you're probably not full. Okay. But if your staff can't tell their friends what you do, or the people at their church or faith institution or their hobbies, I mean, your staff go do things normally after work, even if all they did was go to the grocery store. Can they tell that mom of obviously two young children who's looking a little frazzled, can they tell her what your program is great about and why they need to come check you out? Yeah, I don't know either. All right. first thing, what do people see? What is their first impression? Before anybody opens their mouth, before they pick up the phone, what do they see on Google? What do they see on Facebook? What do they see on your website? What do they see when they drive down the road? I realize that not all of you own your parking lot. And some of you are going to say, yeah, but the front door isn't my responsibility. May not be your responsibility, but it is your first impression. If you've got dead plants, I mean, I know it's Texas summer and I know it's hot, okay? But don't leave the dead plants there. I'm not saying necessarily put a bunch of fake ones out. And if you do put the fake ones out, please make sure you periodically wash them, dust them, remove them when they're all faded, okay? If you can't do that, then find something that works in that space. You want people to feel welcome when they come into your program. But does that welcome then match everything else that you say is your educational philosophy? Okay. So that first impression, before anybody talks, what are people wearing? Do people look disheveled? Do they look stressed out? What does your sign look like? What does your driveway look like? Your website. I found out that there are some people who, even though they know they have a Google My Business, they've never actually gone in and put their own photos in the Google My Business. It's just the drive-by photo from Google. Please, if you aren't sure what your Google My Business page has as far as photos, make that tomorrow morning's action plan because you need to know. Because people are going there, they're looking. Even people who are on Google, they're still getting a lot of their information from Gemini, which is Google's AI. People are now pulling up ChatGPT and Gemini and Copilot and Perplexity and Claude and using them as search engines. Now that is a whole other kettle of fish, and I'm not really going to get into a whole lot of that today, but I'm not going to say we won't because you just never know where I'm going to go. Okay. So your exterior first impressions. Can I find the door? I don't know about you, but I've actually been to programs where I've pulled in and I've gone to a door and it actually was not the front door. Or there was no way for me to get there. Okay. It's one thing about being safe. And it's one thing about being intentional as far as where your door is. But people need to know, what is the actual door they come in? Have you told them? Is it signed appropriately? Do you still have the instructions for how to deal with COVID from 2020 sitting on your door? Or, hey, we're going to be closed for the 4th of July. Newsflash, it is no longer the 4th of July. If you've got a holiday schedule, don't put Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day all on the same sign. That is May, June, May, July, and September. Put up 3 different signs. You're already killing some trees. You can print 3 signs. You don't need to try to print 1. Okay? Sorry, I have an opinion. Can you tell? When parents come in, what is the first impression from an inside standpoint? Families notice noise, scent, clutter. What is the feel? Okay. Warmth is the inside of your building aligning with your educational philosophy? If you're an academic program, that's probably going to look different than if you're a play-based program. If you're a program that's all about dramatic play and theater and music, well, I should probably hear some music. Okay. If I walk in and I can tell you have infants, or it smells like some dog got loosed in your building, you got to fix that if you want them to come back. And if you're not sure because you've gotten nose blind, when is the last time you actually had your facility secret shopped? If you're looking for a place, I can help you with that. There's Childcare Mystery Shop, Childcare Mystery Shopping. We also know people. But look on the list. There are 70 of you in this group. Do you go through the names? Is there somebody in there who you've seen on one of these calls before? Is there somebody you know? If there is somebody you know, send them a message and say, hey, tomorrow let's connect and figure out when we're going to go shop each other's programs. Don't tell them when you're coming. This is a secret shop. Okay. Right. And if you are in a community where you've got parents of certain income brackets, is your program going to match their expectation? Yeah. I mean, Callie's on the group and she's got all of her enrollment from word of mouth. Word of mouth is marketing. Okay. It means that you may not necessarily have advertising, but marketing is all kinds of pieces. Okay. So, real quick, let's talk about what marketing is. Marketing includes referrals, reviews, Google reviews, websites. All of that is parts of marketing. Advertisements, part of marketing. Press releases and anything you share in the community is all part of marketing. Okay, so marketing isn't just one piece. So anybody who's not really sure how word of mouth comes about, reach out to Kelly, go send her a private message and ask her. Because, I am sure she actually asks people. Okay. If your environment isn't clear on where your front door is, your environment is killing your marketing, but it's also helping. Okay. I used to have about 47 different images when it came to this part of a slide, but I've discovered that that's not necessarily helpful because people were feeling like I was calling them out. But you can look at this picture and be very clear, you know where the front door is, right? Now, it is not a brand new building, but it's very clear that the blue doors are the front, or at least that is what you would be led to believe based on the color palette. Even the construction and the concrete, right? Even the sidewalk spaces, right? It kind of all tells you this is the way to go. Now, wouldn't this be the rude awakening if this was the back? Or that it is the front, but the parking lot's in the back? How many of you have had those situations? And again, you have no real control over that sometimes. But if you're the owner and you chose a property, the front door was on the front of the building, and it's great and it's pretty and it's appealing, but all the parking's in the back, then you got to fix that, right? Either you got to come up with a really cool way to get people to come to the front door, or you got to do a really cool thing in the back door. Okay. We don't want it to look like people are hiding, right? That people are stuck in a back end.
You just said get first.
Oops, missed somebody. All right, there we go. All right. Remember, your building talks. Everything talks before you ever open your mouth. Okay. So people are making their first impression. Let me try this again. Their first impression of you is being made again. Websites, Google reviews, Facebook reviews, driving by your building. Now they've called you. What did they get on the end of the phone? Did somebody actually answer the phone? Texas Director calls roughly 500 directors every single year. And do you know that less than 20% actually answer the phone on the first call? Less than 50% actually call us back. I don't know about you, but if I was an owner or I was a director and people are calling me to bring me their children and somebody's not answering the phone, that's not good. Okay? People have to have a way to get in touch with you, and somebody has to answer the phone. If they're only looking at 2 programs and you don't answer and the other program does, and they schedule a tour with the other program, you aren't even in the running. When people come to your program, they've already decided, they've called, They've scheduled the appointment. Now they're going to come do the tour. What do those people experience as part of the tour walking through your building? Are they basically getting an orientation to, well, this is what we do in this room, and this is what we do in this room, and this is where you put your bags, and this is where you put your bottles, and this is where they don't really care about that. They want to know why your program. What are you going to do to help them? What is the pain point for the parents who are coming to your program? Have you asked yourself that question, and have you looked at your tour, and are you answering their why when you give the tour? So I have this little guy who is sitting on top of my piece. Okay. So tours, they're still marketing. Even if you have word of mouth, you are still marketing. Every event you ever have with families is still marketing, whether it's just for families or it's open to the community. So if you are doing an event like even graduation, and maybe you did that, late spring, early summer, that's all marketing. So think about the first impression everybody has when they come in for whatever that event is, whether it's a tour, whether it's a movie night. Okay. With the tour, what do you want families to remember after the tour? Do you want them to remember the smell? Do you want them to remember that you went, oh, wait, let me go get you some stuff. And you left them there in the lobby to go get them some stuff. I'm asking you these questions because these are real scenarios we've actually had with clients in the last year. If you know you have a tour coming, be prepared. Look the part. Make sure all of the staff know you've got a family coming in today. Make sure that as the director or the owner or whoever is giving the tour, that you're excited. I don't care what happened at 6 a.m. at home. If you've got a family coming in at 9:30 and they're going to be coming through the toddler classroom and the toddlers are going to be playing with Play-Doh, or they've got bubbles going, or they're going to be doing a really dynamic story time, those are the things that you want to plan for. Do your best to make sure that the tours are when things are exciting, and make sure that your teachers are aware. But also, as the director, help the teachers understand why it's important that you have one more butt in the seat. If you're an owner or you're a director who doesn't really know all of the numbers, but you're an owner and you do know the numbers, I'm telling you, transparency is going to help you. This is not about keeping all the numbers to yourself, because if you have to pay $31,000 for a brand new air conditioner, and all of a sudden you're a little freaked out and you want every spot to be full, you gotta tell people. If all of the rooms are used to having a couple of less kids than what they're licensed capacity for, and all of a sudden now you're kind of like, ooh, I need all those classrooms full. And it's because you and I know you just spent $31K on a new air conditioner, but you've not told anybody. They all know you got a new air conditioner, but they may just think it's like, their home air conditioner. Chances are your commercial air conditioner is not under $5,000. You might have been able to get a patch for that. You might have been able to make it work, but maybe not. Okay. Most programs give information, but few create a repeatable message. I want you to sit with that a little bit. If all you're doing is giving that parent information, that's not selling. That's not marketing. That's not telling them what makes your program different. I love AI and I use AI for a variety of different resources, but you have to know what questions to ask. You can't just say, write me a tour. You have to actually tell ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, Claude, who or what is your ideal client profile? Do you even know what your ideal client profile? And it's not a warm body. Okay. Your ideal client is somebody who pays on time, somebody who pays 100% the rate of published tuition or more, somebody who doesn't get a discount. So to me, my ideal client is a single family because they don't have any multi-child discounts. And I love two-parent families where both of them are working in the closest major employer. Not necessarily both working for the same major employer, because if that's a shutdown, that becomes a whole problem. But for me, that was who my ideal client was. That may not be for you. You may have an ideal client that is, you want them to all be under 24 months. Because you know if you can get them in under 24 months of age, they're going to stick with you through pre-K. And you've got them until they're 11 because you always have. Okay. What is your repeatable message? That comes back to what is your educational philosophy? Okay. Because you got to know. You got to know what your educational philosophy is. Okay. If you're all about play, if you're Fred Rogers, right? Play is the work of children. Okay. If that is what you truly believe, do you talk about that during your tour? Do you talk about how play improves long-term academics? What research do you know, and can you share it with the parents on the tour? If you've got an infant, a parent with an infant, you don't need to get into all of that. You got a parent with an infant, you don't need to get into how you potty train. But if you got a toddler family and you find out that the toddler has not been potty trained, and you know that your toddler teacher can potty train anybody in less than 2 weeks because it's a family project, then that is absolutely something that you make sure you have in your tour. And you make sure that everybody knows that all of your staff are getting 30 hours a year of professional development. Every other career in the state of Texas, that's unheard of, right? We have a lot of required professional development, and even more when we start thinking about our TRS and our Rising Star folks, right? So all of y'all who are on today. Okay. So what I call a worksheet moment is something that I want you right now on that piece of paper that earlier I told you make sure you got paper and a pencil. After a tour, every family should be able to say, this program is known for what? What is your answer? Well, Linda, if you do end up getting lost, let me just throw in the chat, or maybe, let me see if I can figure out. I'm going to throw in my chat. You guys have got some weather down in your part of the world. I'm going to throw in the chat my email address in case folks get knocked off or you're gone at some point in time. So it's kate@texasdirector.org. Okay. Also want to make sure that y'all know, just because I do an awful lot of national webinars, I actually have a webinar tomorrow with IntelliKids on break-even math. And so that is tomorrow at 1 o'clock or something. If you go to IntelliKids and you click on their webinars or you look them up on social media. Next week for the National Childcare Association, I'm doing a very similar topic, also on break-even points. So if math is not your thing, probably something you should come to, okay? I try not to make it too terribly scary. So, oh, whoa, okay, all kinds of people. You see what people are having to say. So, oh, I love that. Okay, but I want you to tell me what trust and nurturing means to you, okay? How are you demonstrating safety and engagement? What does that look like in the tour? If safety is a priority to you and you want to be a program known to safety, I'm hoping you have at least something like Perfect Day. Okay. Perfect Day Live is a video system software that the parents pay for and subscribe to. It costs you nothing. And they can actually tell you how many hours that the parents are watching over the course of the week. Trust me, the parents are not sitting there staring at their child. And what's even better is they can only see the room where their kid is, and they can only see when their kid is in the room. So if their kid's not there that day, they can't see anything. Okay, so this is not an advertisement for other software, but it is, if you are saying your program is known for something, put your money where your mouth is and make sure that everybody on staff also knows that language. Okay. Now, some of you probably spend a little time in an elevator. I don't know about you, but I spend a lot more time in a grocery store parking lot. So if you've ever heard the phrase, what is your elevator pitch? Do you have one? So in other words, how can you describe what you do or your program is in 30 seconds or less? And so think of it as grocery store clarity. I want this to be your grocery store pitch. If somebody asked me in a parking lot tomorrow about the preschool that my daughter went to, now my daughter is now way over preschool age, but if somebody asked me why that program in 30 seconds or less, I could tell you as a parent what was important to me and why that program was the right fit. I loved their schedule flexibility, the fact that they brought faith into the curriculum. It wasn't everything about the curriculum. And that most of their teachers had been there for over 10 years. And so my daughter got to spend 4 years seeing the same people that she knew every single day. That was what I would say about the program my youngest child went to. Now, my number 3 child, they were so excited. They got to go to a couple of different really unique programs. The first preschool that they got to go to, so exciting. They were actually a preschool class that was attached to a developmentally challenged classroom in an elementary school. Now, granted, this is almost 30 years ago. Ooh, it is 30 years ago. Okay. So although she was a preschooler and I paid the Lutheran Church, that is who managed the partnership. And then they were with kids who had developmental delays, physical delays, autism, a variety of different challenges that were listed as kindergarten and first graders, but developmentally were more preschoolers. And so that is how she did her preschool program. But on Fridays, she got to be part of an outdoor nature preschool. And again, this was 30 years ago, so that was mighty progressive at the time. And what I loved, it was all environmentally friendly. You did not see any disposable paper products. We had a list as a family of what we needed to bring for her. She came 1 day a week. She just came on Fridays, but she loved it because the other program was only Monday through Thursday. Okay. Do you have your grocery store pitch? Think about it. If you don't, write it down, make one, ask your parents if it resonates with them, ask your staff if it resonates with them. Is it something you can say? And once you do it, record it on your phone and then listen to it and then practice it because you want it to be something that anytime somebody says, "What do?" You don't say, "I just own a preschool." No, 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 no. Not allowed. Okay. You don't just anything. Okay. If you are an owner of a multi-million-dollar early learning program specializing in outdoor interactions and the emphasis of play towards academic preparedness, you need to be able to say that and know that. You need to be able to own that. Okay. Just checking on my time because I was feeling a little soapboxy, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't a little off schedule. Okay. The grocery store introduction. It's the 20-second version of your authority. not mine, not the kids in your program, but you and your program. Directors, owners, lead teachers, assistant directors, everybody needs to have their 20-second. My 20-second may not look like your 20-second. Your assistant director may have a different perspective because maybe she's also a parent. And so maybe her 20-second version of her introduction about your program is slightly different because she can talk about it from the my child goes there and here's why that is special to me. Maybe your assistant director was there when your mom ran the program. She's going to have a very different story than you do, and that is okay. But all of you, all 72 of you that are on, need to have your own 20-second, and so that needs to be the second thing for tomorrow's to-do list. Okay, first thing is go to your Google My Business or Google Business Profile or whatever they call it this week. Make sure that the photo there is a good photo of your school and not something that was generated by a drive-by. And it also is what your school currently looks like, right? That it's not catalog versions or stock photo versions. Okay. If your playground's looking a little tired, don't include the bad stuff. Okay. So if your playground's tired and your playground needs a refresh, first of all, go to northstarschoolsupply.com. They will get you hooked up for whether it's playground refresh or room refresh. I love those folks. But make sure that you are got photos on Google that make sense and match your classrooms. Second, do your 20-second grocery store introduction. Now, I don't know about you all, but if there's a grocery store near your program, every time you have to go to the grocery store, that should be the grocery store you go to. That should be the grocery store everybody on staff goes to, especially if you have uniform shirts. Have them go to that grocery store in your uniform shirt, know their 20-second version, smile. I don't know, maybe have some business cards. That's always handy, right? Why? Because if people shop at that grocery store, chances are they're close to that school, right? You can't get any more geo-fenced than literally the grocery store where everybody in your program already grocery shops. That doesn't cost you anything because you were already spending money going to the grocery store. Okay. So I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any messages that might need me. Okay. All right. Here you go. Start thinking about this. I lead or run, whatever the name of the school is, for, and that could be, if you want to say 0 to 11, if you know that right now your biggest opening is pre-K, or maybe you've recently partnered with a school district, so all of a sudden now you got like 20 free pre-K partnership spots, whatever it might be, because you can have more than one of these, right? Okay. Or maybe it's for a specific demographic. Maybe you run a childcare program for families who work for NASA. Okay. We are well known for. Okay. So here's the example. I lead a childcare program for working families, and we are known for helping children build confidence and independence before kindergarten. Okay. What is yours? If they ask you, great, where are you located? Make sure before you go in the grocery store, if you're wearing your school shirt, you know where you are compared to the grocery store. Is there an easy landmark? Oh, we are 2 doors down from the Ace Hardware. We are across the street from the McDonald's. We have a great blah, blah, blah on the front of our property. Okay. Right. There are parts of Texas that have different animals, right? So if you have a hippo or some big ceramic animal and he's painted a certain way, you could say, oh, we're the hippo with all the cute little handprints on front right there on Main Street. They're going to know exactly where you are. So you need to make sure that you can also tell people how to find you based on where you are. Okay. Clear words make it easier for you to refer. Parents can refer you, if they know that you've asked them. Think about it. How many times do you refer somebody to something if they don't ask you? Maybe if it comes up in conversation, you might go, I went to the cutest little restaurant. Let me just tell you about it. But man, you're really quick to tell anybody who will listen if you have a bad experience. Everybody across the state of Texas right now, right? Like we are all prepared for, you guys right now, especially, right? You guys are preparing for Bertha. Not only that, we're all waiting to see what HEB does. HEB will step up. We have no doubt. The rest of the country has FEMA. Texas has HEB, right? And why? Because they follow up. They step up. They are easy to refer. I would suspect that nobody listening would ever have a problem referring somebody to HEB in a natural disaster across the state of Texas. Okay. So I recognize that some of y'all are hunkering down and you probably have already been there. You got your water, you got your bread, you got your rations. We're all good. Okay. But make sure you're easy to refer. Make sure people know what you do. Okay. Now, nobody has to volunteer. We're not even going to play volunteer. I'm going to look at the time. So just so that I stay on target. Okay. So we're not even going to really volunteer, but I do want you to say it out loud. I want you to listen to what it sounds like. Is it true? Is it clear? Is it repeatable? If you ask me right now what I like to do, because I do a lot. So right now, if you ask me, Kate, what do you really like to do? I would look at you and go, accomplished women do not need more credentials. They need to be seen. And that's what I do. And you're going to go, what does that mean? Right? You're going to ask me questions. And I'm going to tell you that one of the first things I do is I teach my clients how and why to know their 20-second grocery store elevator pitch. Because you never know who you're going to meet. If you met somebody who ran the HR department at one of the large petroleum plants in the Houston region at a grocery store, are you prepared to tell them why your program ought to be the priority program for all their staff? Would you be open to running a second shift? Could you tell them that in your pitch? Especially if they told you who they worked for. Right? Something to consider. Okay. Who do you serve? Say that out loud. Does it sound true? Is it clear? And is it repeatable? Okay. Working families, predominantly families in the south part of town, east part of town, in one little zip code. Maybe you're only a half-day program, right? I'm finding more and more of them. We specialize in working with families that need flexible schedules and that are looking for something a little outside of the box. They're going to want to know what is outside the box. Well, you can sign up on a contract for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or 5. Most of our families are 2 or 3 days a week. We encourage them to go 2 days or 3 days in a row because that is best for the children's development. And we find that it helps that those those work from home parents really value knowing that they can always schedule a meeting every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and never have to worry about whether or not their child's going to be knocking on the office door. That's who we serve. If you're a mission of a church and you've got a faith component, is that part of who you serve? Do you only serve the parishioners? Do you serve anybody who has an interest? Is it required that they sign a statement of faith? Doesn't make that right or make that wrong, but it needs to be something that you know and that you say. Okay. My favorite, what are we known for? Okay. What are you known for? I have a program that I've been working with for almost a year. And unfortunately, because of the loudest voice in social media in their community that has opinions is somebody who hasn't worked in the program. And I want you to hear this, 12 years. In 12 years, they've had 2 changes of ownership. But every time somebody asks about this program, this lady pops right up and goes, you don't want to go send your kids there. The owner of the program is me. Unfortunately, that's what that program has now started to become known for. Now, I'm working with the staff and the leadership to always, every time they see that, they've tried a couple of times reaching out to that person personally on social media and inviting them to come back and meet the new owners and take some current tours, because at the time there was 1 location, now there's 3, right? So we have some routine responses that we always encourage them to post, such as, hey, I'm sorry that you had a really hard time when you worked there 12 years ago. We encourage everybody to schedule their own time for a tour so that you can make your own decision, right? Because sometimes it's rough, right? You can't force people to change their mind, right? You can't force them. But you can kind of point out that maybe it's been 12 years since they've been there. Okay. The next one is being memorable in the room. If you have ever, and I mean ever, gone to a community function, so 4th of July, you went to whatever the local community 4th of July event was. Maybe you go to local Chamber of Commerce events. Maybe you go to a women's club. If you've ever been in one of those situations in the last 3 months, drop a 3 in the chat for me right now. I want to see how many of you are out in the community meeting people. That should be a 3. There should be like 71 of those. Come on, y'all. This also could be if you have kids and you're taking your kids to events. Really? Only 2 of you? There's 3 of you? Are the rest of you ignoring me right now and I'm going to have to do something crazy? There we go. Okay. That's what I want to see. But here's the question. Are you memorable or are you just there? If you're going to a community event, even if you don't have to be in your school shirt, why would you not wear it? You are the director. You are the owner. You should be a walking billboard for your business. Everywhere you go, people should not have any question that you are affiliated with ABC Childcare. That's the name of your program. Okay. You also want to remember, if you've got that shirt on, you better have a smile. Right? Some of us, our RBF is really strong. Some of us have subtitles. Don't be drinking. Don't be yapping. Okay. But what makes you memorable, and not what makes you memorable in a bad way. One of the programs that I worked with for years, and I just love these folks, their second location was right across the street from a bar. You heard me. And they had uniform shirts. And so they would regularly go out and bond together over their day. Sometimes they would walk across the street in their uniform shirts, which, we eventually got past. But the kicker, and the reason this became a real problem, was one night there was a wet t-shirt contest. And one of the staff decided to participate in her work shirt. This is not the social media presence you're trying to go for. You also don't want to be the one with the mean staff or the mean owner. You don't want to be the one with the party staff. You don't want to be the one with the staff who date the parents. What do you want to be memorable about? What is it that you are absolutely get on your soapbox related to your educational philosophy and you will scream at the top of your lungs about? Does everybody in your community know that? Okay. What do people repeat? Now, a lot of times I get people go, oh, marketing is so hard. Marketing takes up so much time. Marketing is so expensive. Oh, I do marketing. I do it 1 day a week. I need you to stop thinking about marketing as all being just you. It's not all you. You have staff. You have parents. You have kids. Do the kids in your program wear a uniform t-shirt? You got one lady who's jumped on the call tonight out of 72 of you. She's already shared with us. She's got 90 kids in her program. Could you imagine 90 tiny little billboards out in the wild every evening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. going to all of the events with their siblings? They like their shirts so much they wear them on the weekend. I actually found one of these kids literally in the wild. I was at an airport. I actually stopped his parents, asked if I could take his picture because I loved the fact that it was 11:30 at night on a Tuesday and he is skipping down now I probably wouldn't have taken a picture if he was one of those, like he was that child because he was having a rough day, but he was just skipping and having a good old time at the airport at 11:30 at night wearing his Apple Montessori t-shirt. Now, it's Apple Montessori is not a unique name, and it's actually a Montessori program out of California. Talked with the mom, because of course we had to explain why we were a little creepy asking to take pictures of their child in their t-shirt. But imagine you have 90 kids wearing your t-shirt every single day after school, all around the community. Marketing is now no longer just you. Now, make it simple and make it easy. This is that part of marketing that a lot of times people forget because we can use ChatGPT and we can use Canva and we can have 47 colors. But what are the logos and colors you remember? How many colors are in McDonald's? If you know, drop it in the chat. How many colors are in that logo? How about Nike? Coca-Cola? Pepsi? Your local school district? Probably seeing a trend here. There is a reason. No more than 3 colors. First of all, we want it to be easy and we want it to be repeatable. We want it to be simple. If you've got 12 colors in their logo, first of all, that's an expensive shirt to reproduce. And I know you got people got a Cricut and I can make it at home and I can make an iron-on and whatever. Go do a silk screen. Go print up. Again, you got 90 kids 5 days a week. Okay, that's 500 t-shirts. You find a local vendor, trust me, they will bend over backwards to get your business. And even better, all your staff have 5 shirts, right? Now all your parents have at least 1 or 2 shirts. Could you imagine you get a local buyer, a local t-shirt guy to give you a deal on 600 or 700 t-shirts? That's a lot of money you just brought into the community. He's going to remember you. Guess what? That means he's now going to refer people. The next time somebody comes into his shop and says, hey, I'm new to town. I need to do this for my business. And they notice they have a child with them. Who do you think he's going to immediately think of to make that referral? The company he just spent and just did 700 t-shirts for. But you've got 700 t-shirts now walking around town. That is 700 billboards. Okay. Not only do you have your staff, you've got your parents, you've got your families. But who in your town already works with those families? Do you have a realtor in town who specializes in bringing new families to town or helping new families find their first home? Do you have a realtor that works just in your neighborhood? Pediatricians. Do you have a pediatrician in your neighborhood? Is there a pediatrician that already has half your parents? And you know what? You got to get everybody's shot records. I would suspect that if you actually looked in your file folders, you probably have an idea what pediatricians are servicing half your families. Libraries, what employers, what churches, what elementary schools, and what therapists. What restaurants? I love restaurants with a free Tuesday night kids eat free, especially if they got a playground. That should be your partner. Get in there and make yourself repeatable. Okay? You're not paying them. You're partnering with them. They're referring people to you because you've introduced them to your program. Okay? All your parents are going to go out sometime during the course of the week, or at least over the course of the month, probably. And when they do, have you offered a date night package? Have you worked with that restaurant on, hey, let's see if we can't work something out. I got an idea. The first Friday, or ask them, is there a Friday that's slow here or a Saturday that's slow? And they might go, for whatever reason, every time the football team is away, we are so slow. Great. So let's pick 2 different Friday nights in our community on away nights that we can try to see if we can't partner. What does that look like? The restaurant promotes your location because your location is going to be open that evening for everybody who's eating at the restaurant to not have to take their children. You offer for your parents for free, you have a date night service, but you encourage all of your families to bring a friend, right? So the kid gets to bring their best bud, and the best bud comes for $10. It's 3 hours, it's movies, it's pizza, it's a lot of fun. It is designed entirely for fun for the kids. Meanwhile, the 2 parent families, right? Those 2 families, they get to go out, have a nice dinner at the local restaurant, who, because you are the ones referring them for dinner, they now get a free dessert or a free appetizer. They get something for partnering with you. You give a little, they give a little. Imagine how many different businesses across town you could do that with. My favorite, Saturdays or Sunday mornings with a local stylist, salon, nail salon, any of those. Offer that exchange. Create the marketing material so it's repeatable for you. Give them the sign. You can go onto Amazon. You can buy the plastic signs. You can make them postcard size. You can make them business card size. They don't have to be a full 8.5 by 11. But imagine if you had something like that every single month with a different partner in town. So 1 month, it's eat out at a restaurant. The next month, it's a nail salon. Maybe 1 day a month, it's at the local dress store. Okay. Maybe you do something with the libraries. Maybe with the library, it looks totally different. Maybe your staff now become volunteers to read at story time, especially we've all got that one staff person who is just the most dynamic storyteller. Man, if you could get her to volunteer at the local library and she wears her shirt, okay, right? She's like, oh yeah, I'll do that if you pay me. Great, wear your shirt. Take these flyers, take your business card. It's an hour, once a week. Could even be during the workday. Have you had a real face-to-face conversation with every employer in town who employs over 10 people? Have you had a real face-to-face conversation with every church and elementary school in your community? Do you happen to be near therapists who probably could use the opportunity to have some drop-in care? It doesn't have to be all the time, but if you've got a therapist, especially somebody who does family therapy or even, you know, adolescent therapy, and sometimes the parents need to be there, but they don't want to take the sibling. Is that something that you could do? Probably. Only you know what works in your community, but I want you to think outside of the box and go find some partners, because partnership marketing is by far the cheapest thing you're ever going to do. It is already geofenced. You don't have to worry about whether or not you've got people in your neighborhood. These are the people in your neighborhood. Okay. Channel your inner Sesame Street. Go channel Fred Rogers. Won't you be my neighbor? Okay. So whether it's, Sesame Street or Fred Rogers, there's a reason we all talk about neighbors. We all talk about neighborhoods. We all talk about a village. Well, if you don't know anybody in your village, nobody's going to refer you. So you have to be referable. Your message has to be repeatable. And you have to absolutely follow through with what you say you're going to do. So don't jump into this. I'm not saying go today. So what's not on your list for tomorrow is to go call 12 people and try to create 12 partnerships. No, that's not what I said. I said imagine if. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is what? Okay. You're going to look at your Google page. The second thing is going to make sure that you know your grocery store pitch. The third thing is identify one potential marketing partner. Who wants your families? Whose ideal client profile are the same as yours? Okay. Find those people who are already serving your families. How can you help them help your families? And how can your families, or how can their clients help you? Now, if you are full, you got 90 kids, you got space for 3 more, and then you're starting to work on your wait list, that doesn't mean that you can't do this. Doesn't mean you can't already be building that relationship. Why? Because you never know when something's going to happen. Build that relationship before you need it. Dig that well before you're thirsty. Great book on networking falls into this beautifully. If you wait till you have to have butts in the seats and then you start trying to do this, it's going to take you a while. But you know what? It's going to take you a while also if you're trying to do social media ads. Social media ads are not going to happen overnight. Yes, you can pay somebody to do that, and you can work really, really hard to find somebody who really understands how to geofence, and you can give them a budget. Or you can put your shoes on, and you can go outside, and you can walk around, and you can meet some of your business neighbors. You can drive through town and go, okay, now that business has cars parked in front of it that are the types of cars my parents drive. I wonder what that business is. Go in and find out. Okay. Who could you invite into the room with you? Write them down. I'm going to take just a second or two. And don't just write nail salon. I want the actual nail salon. If you got to, pull out your phone. Look to see what the closest nail salon is. Is there already a local restaurant that you already buy food from? If you do parent education events, right? Monthly trainings on how to be a parent. If you already offer those and you're already offering pizza from the local pizza place, okay? I am stressing local, but local also means businesses that are franchised that are owned by local people, right? So McDonald's are franchises. Papa John's are franchises. But try to know if the person who owns that Papa John's lives in the neighborhood, because that makes a difference, right? If there's somebody who owns 57 Papa John's and they live in Florida, that's not the same. Go find the mom and pop pizza place. But I am all about finding your local vendors. Okay. You have a 20-second version. Now, here's the next step. Okay. Looking at the time, keeping track of time. People can have the 20-second version for the parking lot. But you're all educators. We all are passionate. We all have passions. Now you need to come up with a 20 or 30-minute education presentation to share with people about anything. What drives you crazy? Maybe it's just when people say, oh, you're a babysitter. Well, the last time I checked, I haven't sat on a baby yet. Okay. If you have never attended, if you attend regularly Chamber of Commerce functions, or maybe you've only ever been to one, or even better, you know you actually are part of a chamber. Okay. I want you to think this through, right? Who already has opportunities where you could talk for 10 or 30 minutes about maybe it's the importance of play in pre-academic. Maybe it's the importance of understanding why you need a strong core and why your program has decided to get rid of all the tables and chairs. Rotary clubs, Chamber of Commerce, Kiwanis groups, Lions groups, women's groups, parent groups, moms of multiples, pick a group, right? We've got VFWs, we've got all kinds of associations that are constantly looking for people to give programming. I'm not talking about doing a 2-hour keynote. I'm not talking about doing a motivational speech, unless you want to. But I am talking about if somebody at a Chamber of Commerce says, hey, you've got 5 to 10 minutes to tell everybody about your business. Are you ready for that one? Chamber of Commerce events are awesome. Chamber of Commerce programs are great. Every one of you should be going. If you don't have time, can your assistant director go? Do you have a parent who might already be going? If your raving fan already goes to the chamber function, ask them to talk about you, because you have 10 openings in your pre-K classroom that you need filled because you just spent $31,000 on your air conditioner. Okay. Tell the parents what you need. Tell the parents you like what you need. Right? If there are parents that you tolerate, but you definitely don't want 10 more of them, don't tell that parent that you need 10 more. If there's a parent that so gets you that they show up with your exact coffee every Monday and every Friday, because they just know that that's when you're going to need it. That's the parent. You tell them exactly what you need. The parent who pays on time, you tell that parent what you need. Okay? The parent who picks their child up on time. Okay? That 10 to 30 minutes is not necessarily what makes your program different. It's not a 20-minute sales pitch. It could be about anything that makes you memorable, that you're passionate about. It helps if it's related, but it doesn't have to look like a training that I would offer to other childcare centers. Okay? So if I'm at a Chamber of Commerce function and I've done the math because I've been challenged, I've come to this workshop and Miss Kate has challenged me to go, do I actually know my annual revenue if I add up all 3 locations? All of a sudden, I've added up all 3 locations and I'm like, wow, okay. I hadn't really thought about it that way. Apparently, I run a $2 million business in this community. You carry a little more clout at a chamber function than the steam cleaner or the dry cleaner or the local grocery store. You run a $2 million business, a business that has $2 million a year in annual revenue. Not only that, how many families do you serve? Right now, how many families? I'm going to have one person do me the math. Whoever wants to jump in first in the chat, tell me how many families you have that work that come to your program. Boy, Callie is right on that. Okay, Callie, you got 54 families, and we know that you've got 90 kids. Of your 54 families, Callie, how many parents work? So all being 54 or all being 108 or all being 90? How many adults work because of your, okay, all 54. So all 54 families, I get that. Is that a single family or 2-income family? Okay, give me an estimate. So here's what I'm looking for, Callie. I'm trying to get an idea of roughly how many adults. I did this with one of my programs in South Texas, and they realized that because they were open, they also, 68 adults work. Thank you, that's what I needed. Okay, how many staff do you have, Callie? 22. So because of your business, you have 90 people in your community who get to go to work. Okay, do you have a rough estimate of maybe the average salary of, maybe not all 90, but of some of them? What would you guess is the average salary? Annual salary? So basically 6,000, 60,000 a year, mid-range? Is that what you're, okay, all right. So let's just go with 90 families, 90 adults times 60. Okay, hang on to your britches for this, okay? I want you guys to all understand that Callie's program now not only allows 90 adults to work in that community, it brings in $5.4 million in revenue into that community because those parents get to work. Do you think that that's a number somebody might pay attention to? Imagine doing that math in a chamber function and then challenging the other people in the building to do that same thing with their job. $5.4 million of revenue brought into the local community because your child care center is open. This is what we mean by when we talk about the fact that we are the backbone behind, that we're the infrastructure, we're the backbone behind the workforce, right? People kind of forgot that in the last 6 years. You know, everybody was really aware of this 6 years ago. Okay. But again, we're back down to, oh, well, I don't want to give any more money to that county. Or, yeah, I know that we've got, 2 million kids across the state of Texas on the wait list for TWC, but we don't need to. Imagine sitting at a Chamber of Commerce function when somebody says, Callie, tell me what you do. And Callie goes, I'm the manager of a $2.5 million business. And because of our business, we have 90 adults who can work in this community, and we bring $5.4 million worth of revenue back into the local tax base. People are going to shut up and listen to you. You don't just run anything at that point in time. Okay? That doesn't cost you anything. Okay? Even if you pay for a Chamber of Commerce event. Okay? You're right, Callie. It has been so hard for people to hear this and to see this. That's why I'm telling you all of you, there are 72 of you. Imagine if all 72 of you now know these numbers. You all show up in your local community. I would be so excited. So when some of you show up and there's more than one of you at a chamber function, y'all nod your head. You all get prepared together to do your introduction that way, and it will totally change the way planning and zoning happens in that community. Show up at city council. I don't care what city you're in. Go to your city council and share this number. Now, all of a sudden, it changes the dialogue and people remember you. Now, you got to be careful because every once in a while you get people who start doing the math and they hear these numbers and they go, damn, you're making a ton of money. Okay. And this is where you have to know, and this is where owners, whether you like it or not, you've got to be transparent with your staff and you've got to make sure your staff understand 70% of that revenue goes back to payroll. Not only that, we still have the mortgage, we still have the Wi-Fi, we still have the pest control, we still have the health inspections, we still have to, I don't know, advertise and put butts in the seats. Okay? You probably are making maybe 20% on a profit. But I use that term loosely because if you're that lady who just put $31,000 into her program into an air conditioner in a teeny little town in the middle of South Texas, I mean, we had a really long talk because she's not sure she will ever truly make that investment back. She's part of a community where they pay very, very little for childcare. But she also has the heart and she knows the community needs her program. She's one of two in her entire community. She's always full. What was she going to do? It's 110 degrees outside. She wasn't not going to get the air conditioner fixed. She didn't have time to do a fundraiser. She took out a loan, personal loan. Okay. All right. I will attempt to get off my soapbox. But this is what I mean by sometimes you're going to have a soapbox issue and it's going to be related to what you do, but kind of, but not really. Right. Okay. Like for me with Texas directors, one of the things that I get so passionate about is making sure that you as directors and owners get training that works for you. Stop going to the infant teacher trainings. That doesn't help you do your job. It might be what you like to do, and it might be what would be fun, but I want you to be able to go to child development trainings that make sense for you. I want you to go to admin trainings that work for you, whether you've been in childcare for 1 year, or you've been in childcare for 10 years, or 32. I want you to be able to find the training that really works for you, that you can actually implement tomorrow. Oops, went too far. Okay. Now, I do not have this scheduled, partially because I'd be curious to know if anybody's interested. If I worked with you, you could come to a 90-minute free training on creating your little community talk. Would you be interested? We would talk through and help you write the opening. We'd do the message. We'd do the story. We'd talk about what our 3 points are close and how and where to pitch it. Okay. Well, that answered my question. Okay. So what I will do is I will put this on my calendar and it'll be free. It'll be 90 minutes. It'll be come prepared. I will teach you how to create this. And I want you to actually figure out what it is for you. Like I said, right now, my buzz issue is, do you know what local impact you have in your community, right? But that may not be yours. You may be all about every kid needs to be outside 5 hours a day, every day, rain, sleet, snow, whatever. Like there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing choices. Okay. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe you think every kid needs to be, I don't know, pick something. Maybe it's related to fruits and vegetables, right? Like there's all kinds of things that people have as personal issues, right? Maybe you want to make sure that every child is in a safe preschool, right? And you really want to get behind making sure that your community has quality training for the residential programs, right? Family-based childcare, for the smaller programs, for the bigger programs, and that you guys all work together to bring in really good trainers and not just the free stuff you can find online. Okay? There's lots of free stuff online. There's lots of free stuff online that's pretty good. You know, I mean, I got 2 of them this week and next week. Okay? So, I mean, it's not that you can't. It's what is going to work for you, right? What's your hot button? Okay. All right. If you take no picture of any other slide, you don't write anything else down today, I want you to write down this. Be easier to understand, be easier to remember, and be easier to refer. People don't know what you do. They can't remember it and they can't refer it.
Can you go back to the other slide so I can see the availability?
This one, I actually don't have it scheduled yet. I'm going to send it out as an email. I wanted to see who was interested before, because, you know, I think everybody should want to take this, but that doesn't mean that everybody's going to want to. So I wanted to check before I did that. Okay. All right. Real quick, does anybody have somebody that they know who might have dropped off who is trying to get back in? I have a couple of people trying to get in, and right now I'm leaving them in the waiting room because y'all have been here. So I'm just that human. Okay. If you do, if somebody hears, hey, that's my boss, will you let her in? If you'll drop that in the chat for me, that'd be awesome. Okay. All right. So there were at least 20 of you. So yeah, so I will absolutely put that masterclass on the calendar. And from there, I will send out an email to all of y'all who are here. And from there, you guys can sign up if you think it's something you're interested in. Okay. All right. So with that, one of the things that I love to do is I love to get feedback from folks on, yeah, so some of the names, when you guys get kicked off, if I recognize the name, I'll absolutely let you in without any problem. If I didn't recognize the name, I don't always let you back in. Okay, so you're going to need QR codes anyway, right? Because you guys are going to have to pull out and you're going to have to need it here for just a minute for your TechPeds code. But in the meantime, I would love for you to do this one and tell me what you thought of today's session. And here's the reason. I can only make things better if you tell me. You don't have to give me your name. It helps the workforce board know whether or not I did a good job, right? So just like leaving a review, same kind of thing. I send them the report tomorrow and I let them know, hey, I had 74 folks on, 35 of them, only 35 left me a message. I mean, come on now, y'all. Let's make sure everybody leaves me a message. It would just make my life much easier if y'all gave me that input. Okay, hold on, somebody. All right. So, you know, fill out this QR code is kind of practice for the next one. Real quick on the next one, because I did give everybody my email, right? It's kate@texasdirector.org. So while you guys are filling out this QR code, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the next one. Please don't message me and ask me where your TechPed certificate is. I appreciate and I love all 73 of you, but I don't know. I don't do that. Okay. So childcare training at the Workforce Solutions at Gulf Coast, that is who you call, but give them a few days. So in other words, if you haven't gotten your TechPed certificate and you fill out the next QR code, you got to fill out the next QR code and you got to fill it out within 48 hours, right? You can't fill it out in 3 days. You got to fill it out in 48 hours. Okay. If you haven't heard from them by next Wednesday or Thursday and the training for today is not in the portal, then reach out to them. Do not reach out to me. Okay. I need all 73 of you that are on to hear me.
Kate, this is the same QR code. It's not for us to fill out anything.
I'm going to give you another one. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's okay. I'm telling everybody the rules before I give them the next one. because I give them the next one and then they don't listen. So the next one that I'm going to give you here in a minute is for tech pets. Please don't message me and ask me. Every session for the last 6 months, I get at least 3 or 4 people that email me and go, hey, and then they'll email me again and go, hey, I still don't have it. And I'm like I told you in the last email, that's not me. Okay, so I am your trainer. I am not your tech pets guru. Okay, all right. So now I'm going to give you the second QR code. And I know that this is the one that all of y'all really, really want. The other one was a practice, and it was really for me because I want to be able to be better. And I want you guys to keep coming. All right, so this is the getting the word out about your program. It is the marketing session with Gulf Coast. Okay, let me drop in the chat also the link to this for those of you who might be in your car. Okay. All right. Yep, drop the links in. Okay, this is the Tech Peds link. Yep. Yep, I know there's a few of you on your phone. I try really hard. Can't always catch up. Can't always do it on time. Okay, but with this one, fill it out. Let them know. Okay. Remember that they will get back to you by the middle of next week. That's when it should be in. It's not going to be in tomorrow. It's not going to be in by Friday. Okay. Give the staff some time because we're telling everybody that you've got 48 hours to fill out the code. Right. So if they've got 48 hours to fill out the code, they're not going to process this probably until Monday. Right. So if they process it on Monday and there are 73 of you, we want them to have time to go in and because what they do is they look, I send them a report of who showed up. Right. We had 147 folks sign up. We had 73 of you here. They're going to look at what 73 were here. How long were you here? Do you get the certificate? Right. They don't just automatically because you filled it out. Okay. If you have any questions or you need to get a hold of me, kate@texasdirector.org is my email address. I do have 2 more sessions coming up in the next couple of months, so be on the lookout for those. I feel like I should probably have known what those are called. Let me see if I can pull those up real quick. I'll give you some dates and titles. Let's see. Oh, in August, we have one that is Ask for What You Want. That's actually a great teacher training, but I would love directors and administrators on it as well because I can make sure that we do it from a how to teach your teachers how to ask for what they want. And that is absolutely a great one. And then in September, we are going to talk about setting the groundwork. So we're going to talk about how to do baseline trainings. What is that baseline groundwork that you need to have in your program to make sure that your teachers are awesome, that your program is awesome. So it'll cover a whole bunch of different stuff, but it's going to focus a lot on staffing and orientation and hiring and firing. Well, less on the firing, but more on how to hire correctly, how to write good job descriptions, all that stuff to make sure that you get the right staff, right? So that's the whole goal of that one in September. So, all right. Well, y'all, it was great. I am happy to stay on if people have any questions. If people want to talk, I'm going to stop sharing. I try to give us a few minutes for Q&A. So if folks have some questions that you want to ask publicly, feel free to do that. If folks don't want to do that, you are great. You are welcome to jump off. I am not offended. So been great. I know you guys all have some weather to watch and be careful and stay as dry as you can.
Thank you, Katie. You were great.
Well, thank you so much. It was great to see so many familiar faces. I feel like I have my own little fan club growing there in Gulf Coast. I love it. There's about 37 of you that show up to all of my workshops. It makes me smile.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great day, Debbie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if anybody does have any questions, you are welcome to drop those in the chat. Take yourself off mute. I'm going to wait a little bit longer because we still got some folks on, and I don't know if you're on just because you haven't turned yourself off.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
For the scheduling, will you send out an email or
I
how will we
will.
be able to do that?
Yep,
Okay.
I'm going to send that out probably in the next 2 days. Yep. Absolutely.
You mentioned something, North Star. I
Oh,
didn't get
North
the
Star
word.
School Supplies. I'll include that in the email. I'll include them and Perfect Day Live, the 2 resources I talked about. North Star School Supplies is northstarschoolsupplies.com. I will tell you what I absolutely love is that they will literally do an over the phone or a video audit with you, work with what you already have, and not try to sell you stuff out of a catalog. Like they've got an online shop. But that's not really what they want to do. They want to work with you on figuring out what's the one item, what's the 2 items, what do you need for 1 classroom, what do you need for 5 classrooms, right? Like so they are very personable, very much what I call white glove service, right? Like they really want your business and they want to support your program. They work with big programs, they work with little programs, they work with programs all over the country. What I really like is that all of their manufacturing, like all the equipment they sell, is all made in the US. And so I kind of like that. And anything I can do to help US based businesses and small businesses, I'm going to do. Not that I don't like the other 2 big names, and I just don't say their names. It's not that I don't like them, but they're the big 2. Everybody buys from them. So
Yes.
I try to send people to the ones that people don't generally buy from. So.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anytime. Anything else I can do for you, Bertha, you just let me know.
Okay, and I enjoyed the training. It was great. Have a
Well,
good
good.
night.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm a little warm. I didn't turn on my fan, so I'm like going, hopefully nobody can tell. I don't think my shirt's see-through, but
No, you look great.
something about playground. So yeah, so the same company, they have a playground line as well. So yes, they also have great outdoor classroom furniture. So it's well made, cedar, again, US based manufacturing. So yeah, go to North Star School Supply, and I will, like I said, I'll include them and Perfect Day Live. So if you have been thinking about using a video system, what I love about Perfect Day Live is you don't have to spend the money. The parents pay $6 a month for the subscription if they want it. And it allows you to use it as part of your marketing, a part of your sales pitch on why safety is important. Safety is so important. You have this as an option for parents. Yep. So one thing to remember, anytime you have trainers and you ever need anything, reach out to the trainers and ask them. Chances are they've got vendors they really are passionate about and like. I have my own private list of people I'm happy to refer you to. It's not that I will ever badmouth another client or another vendor. I just may not use their name. So I might go, my preference is, and not that the others are bad, but this is why I like this one. Right. So, and you guys can do the same thing with childcare centers. Do you know the childcare centers in your community and what makes them different? Because especially right now, right? I'm constantly seeing poor 3-year-olds that are really struggling because they hadn't been in organized care yet. And so we put them into a classroom with like 15 to 20 kids and they're freaking out. Maybe we all need to make sure we know at least 1 or 2 of the residential programs in our community so that if we have a child who probably in about 6 months will do really great in our classroom, but right now he's hell, refer him to an early learning leader in a residential facility, AE. If you don't already know, that's family childcare. If you have somebody in a registered family childcare that you really like, that's right down the street, they've got 5 kids, might be a great first place for that family. And again, it doesn't mean that you're saying that that family's bad. It doesn't mean that you're saying that kid is bad. It just means that right now you're not the right fit. So help them find the right fit. Trust me, that parent, that family, that child is all going to remember. And so is your teacher. Because if that child is driving your teacher insane and you don't have another place to put to them. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Can you put the QR code back up, the one that we fill out for you?
Oh, I will be happy to give you that one. Hold on. I always love it when people want to give me feedback. Absolutely. And again, if you have feedback, and so part of the reason why, so when Carrie and I do workshops now, we do make sure we tell people we're cousins. For about 20 years, we never told people we were cousins. We've been training together for over 25. And we never told people we were cousins, but apparently we were a little too comfortable with each other and somebody perceived it as we were picking on each other. But 5 decades, people, yes, I'm going to pick on her. So now we make it a point to make sure that people know we're cousins and that sometimes we may come across as borderline siblings. We've been in business together for 25. We've known each other for 5 decades. It kind of comes with the territory. So, and we're more aware of it, right? So we kind of warn everybody that this is part of our shtick, that one of us is almost always saying somebody else's line. Because we do actually practice and we try really hard that this is Kate's stuff and this is Carrie's stuff. But sometimes Carrie will say my stuff, or sometimes I will say Carrie's stuff, or sometimes one of us, I don't know, might get on a soapbox. And so we will do our best to kind of interrupt. Sometimes it's politely, sometimes it's not polite at all. And it's the not polite at all ones that kind of will throw people if we don't tell them we're related. So, but that's only because we started doing talkadots and asking folks for their feedback. So. All right. Well, y'all, it's been great getting to spend the evening with you. And again, if you need anything else, my email address is kate@texasdirector.org. To everybody who is here tonight, I will be sending out that masterclass date and sign up. Like I said, it's free, but it will give you an opportunity to create your own 10 to 30 minute why I make a difference in this community presentation about whatever is on your heart. And once we do it a couple of times, once we do it, you might go, oh man, that was great. Now I can do like 3 or 4 because you might have different things that are your, I'm going to call them soapboxes, right? Like it could be, making sure that car seats are in correctly. If you've never tried to put a modern car seat in a modern car, oh my God. Beware and make sure you got all the videos, and somebody out there with a camera videotaping might be the funniest thing you've seen in weeks. Carrie and I have one from 4 years ago. Carrie's niece is now 4. She was a newborn. Parents had a brand new car seat. We have 6 kids between Carrie and I. We've used all kinds of car seats. We couldn't figure that damn thing out for love or money. Like we had to YouTube how to put it in, and then it still took us another 30 minutes, and we filmed the whole dang thing because it was really just that funny. So sometimes you might have something like child safety seats is a big thing, and you want to host car seat rodeos and make sure that everybody in the community is all about making sure that their car seats are incorrect, right? Sometimes it's because, there's a story behind it, right? So. All right. Well, y'all, it is 7:50. I'm going to give you back your last 10 minutes. If you need me, email me. And otherwise, I'll see you guys in August.
Can you put the QR code up for the certificates, please?
Sure can.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So if you are one of the last 16 folks, the final QR code is being flashed right now for your TechPed certificate. If you can't make that work, please let me know. I've dropped the link in the chat. So if you are somebody who happens to be on your phone, there is a link in the chat. You might have to scroll up a little bit to find it. If you ever have any questions, you can reach out to me at any point in time. My email address is kate@texasdirector.org. We have been a director credentialing agency in the state of Texas since 2002. We are about to hit 25 years. And we have trained over 5,000 directors. So we absolutely love supporting the owners and administrative teams of all size programs. All right. Well, on that note, I am going to end today's session, partially because I am incredibly hot. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, and it just happens to be I'm that age where that happens sometimes. And so with that, again, y'all have a lovely evening. Stay dry, stay safe. And if you need anything, just let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you.